Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Quest Me, the Star Wars podcast that takes you on a quest through legends and new canon. My name is Josh. I am your forever host and friend, and I am joined tonight by my great friend and co-host, Phil. How are you doing, sir?
Doing all right, Josh. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be back in the saddle
Oh,
talking some Star Wars.
yes.
It's funny, my stepdaughter, like a couple weeks ago, was like, "Are you ever going to talk about Star Wars again?" And I was like, "Oh, sweetie. Don't worry, I'm gearing up for it."
There will be time. There will
Yeah.
always be Star Wars.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been doing a Pokemon podcast since January,
Yeah.
so I've
How's
been
that been
very.
going, man?
Oh, it's been fun, man. We do behind me. I got my whole like setup. We got a whole little like table to play the card game and stuff. So
Nice.
it's been a lot of fun. And just taking Shay, my girlfriend, through the whole original series is it's a good time. Like
Dude,
you
that's so
watching
much
those
fun.
episodes, yeah. So yeah, if anyone wants to check it out, the very best, a Pokecast. It's all over Facebook, TikTok, Blue Sky, all that stuff. So, but for this podcast, you can follow us at Twist My Arm Podcast anywhere. Quest Me is part of the Twist My Arm network, so that's where we are. Just search Twist My Arm, and it's also in the show notes. If you click down below in the recording, if you're listening to this recording, there is some show notes with all those things. So, this season, we are talking about Andor season 2.
Man, it is so good to have Andor back.
Isn't it though? Do you remember Andor season 1? Do you remember how good it was?
It was like right after we'd moved into this house, man. It was just everything had changed. And then we get hit with this Star Wars that is unlike anything else that Star Wars had done before.
Yeah.
And just, it's so good to have that back.
Right. And this season they have a huge budget. So like stuff looks really good and yeah, it's good. Hey, well look at that. We got Jesse in the chat.
Hey.
The Mandalorian season 2. I like it. Okay, all right. Star Wars fascism is bad. Yes, fascism is very bad. We'll get into all of that for sure. Look,
Looks like Jesse understands the core principle of Star Wars.
yeah, exactly. It's so funny. But I mean, I was saying it in our chat like the other day. I was like, I really try hard to keep politics out of my podcasts, but I feel like at some point in this show, it will be brought up. I feel like most people that listen to the show are kind of all on the same page, so I'm not too worried about like where it'll lead to, but just be warned. Especially these first 3 episodes, they are just so spot on with today and like current events. It's kind of uncanny, but also at the same time, it's kind of nice to see like a show like Star Wars kind of, I don't know, it's kind of their way of being like, hey, you guys are dickheads.
It speaks a lot to the quality of the writing. Tony Gilroy is absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
But he's nailing interweaving current events. He really is.
Yeah, for sure. And like, it's not necessarily smacking everyone in the face or anything, but there are definitely when you're watching it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I know where that came from. but all in all, I mean, it was a great return to form.
Absolutely stellar.
And a good intro to the season. I went back and rewatched the entire first season of Andor last week. I binged it. I was like, I'll watch like a couple episodes today, a couple episodes tomorrow. No, that didn't happen at all. I started that thing and I just blasted through it. And watching it as a whole like that was really, really cool. I kind of want to go back and do this for like all the Star Wars shows. Just binge it all the way through, skip all the credits and all that stuff, because I feel like a lot of these shows are made to be kind of like movies,
Oh yeah.
And so I've always said I want to just record all these movies on my computer or all these episodes and cut out all the credits and just put it all together into one big movie, and it would probably be a lot better than having to wait for pieces. But Jesse says he's gonna have to dip when the actual coverage starts. That's okay. But
Back, and he's here for it.
yeah, best storytelling is both timely and timeless. It sounds like they're nailing that here. Yes, absolutely.
Most definitely, man. We'll get into it a little bit, and you can catch it, later. You don't have to, stick around tonight, but
right. Make sure when you do watch the episodes that you have some time, because you'll want to watch all 3 episodes at the same time, like a movie. Basically, it's each episode was I think 50 minutes long or something like that.
roughly, yeah.
And so it equates to a pretty decent movie.
Cut out about 8 to 10 minutes at the end of each one for the credits.
Yeah, what? There's so many credits.
What? Republic credits?
They're no good here.
Oh man, I gotta go with Brooklyn.
Okay.
Jesse's asking. Speaking of timeless, Phil, who's your favorite gargoyle from Gargoyles? And man, I gotta go with Brooklyn.
I don't remember any of the names of the gargoyles. Which one was Brooklyn?
Brooklyn was the little kind of runty red looking guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'd probably be the little green one. What was the green one with the wings?
Oh, it was
a tiny little
Lexington?
little goblin looking thing.
Yeah.
That would be me for sure.
Lexington? The 3 of them were named after streets or like neighborhoods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I hear there's a live action of that.
Yeah, Lexington.
Okay.
Was the little guy.
I'll take it. Man, that was a good show. But anyway, let's not get too far off track here. Before we get, of course, like it was crazy because this episode, there was a lot of adult themes in it, or this whole arc, there was a lot of adult themes in it.
In keeping with what Andor has been since the first episode, is hitting some of those heavier themes that the main like Star Wars films don't usually get to address because they're trying to aim for the theatrical audience. Right. With something coming directly to streaming like Andor is, it gives them a little more room to play with those kind of more sensitive but more serious topics.
Right. Well, and Disney Plus is really expanding with like their adult stuff. Look at Daredevil.
I was gonna say Born Again.
Dude.
Yeah.
Bone crushingly good, if I may say so myself. So anyway, with those adult themes, I was a little inspired to do some new stuff for this season. So we're still gonna do some of the same segments, and that being said, we got to start off with the best one.
I'm looking for a drink.
Where are you going, Master? For a drink?
Do you have spiced tea?
That's right. We're going to a bar far away.
That was spectacular, folks. That's the first time I have seen the new bumper for this segment, and that was a delight. Well, I've got a couple of things for you all tonight. For those of you who were following along when we were doing Skeleton Crew last year, or early this year,
January.
Yeah,
started in December, so you could say last year. Yeah.
When we were doing Skeleton Crew for the Bar Far Away segment, I started adding mocktails, non-alcoholic beverages, to my repertoire of various things that I make here. So tonight I've got one of each, one with booze, one without. For our mocktail tonight, we have a first night punch. And I know that Tay Colma had a bit too much, but inspired by the wedding theme that ran through the Mon Mothma arc of this whole trilogy of episodes, I came up with some wedding-inspired cocktails. Mocktail and cocktail. So the first night punch
Don't forget to take a drink.
No, this thing is delicious.
Is this the mocktail? This is the one that
This is the mocktail.
Okay.
This is the mocktail. This is 2 ounces of pineapple juice, 1 ounce of orgeat almond syrup, and 4 ounces of a non-alcoholic ginger beer.
All right.
It's really simple. It's
I have all of that.
and then a little lemon peel star for garnish, just because a bunch of the drinks that they were having throughout the wedding sequence had little star garnishes floating in it. It was super cute.
Yeah.
Just a fun detail. This is just a nice balance of tart and sweet. Doesn't fall too much on either side. And honestly, could be made in a pretty large batch if you wanted to actually make it as like a big bowl of punch. Would be pretty good.
Would you say you could throw a big batch in a bathtub?
I mean, I wouldn't want to drink it if you did, but make sure you clean that bathtub real good first. But
back to like college days and do the big old bathtub of jungle
man, when
juice.
we did jungle juice, we always used a cooler.
I guess that's fair.
Well, because then you could do what my buddy did, and at the very end of it, take the cooler, pop the spigot open, and drain whatever's left out. I digress. And then our other one tonight, this is the Sigrona Tima.
Ooh.
This is named for the Chandrillan toast. Specifically the toast given by Perrin at his daughter's wedding. This is 1 ounce of lemon juice, 1 ounce of Saint Germain elderflower liqueur, and then it's topped off with a bottle of Prosecco, just a little little mini bottle. So like 8-ish ounces roughly of Prosecco. So sparkling wine in keeping with kind of the celebratory theme, but
it's like a mimosa kind of.
A little bit. It is kind of a riff on a mimosa.
Nice. As always,
has a little extra kick, but
as always, those are fantastic drinks.
Thank you.
I'm just rocking. I actually have 3 things going on. I have a green tea monster. Those are delicious. And then I have this Corona Sunbrew citrus cerveza.
Ooh.
It's not too bad actually. I don't really drink much. So when I do, it has to be either just like one straight shot with a chaser or like a very foo-foo drink,
Well, I'll make sure that you have the recipes for both of those so they can go in the show notes.
Yes.
And as always, drink responsibly.
Correct. Unlike Mon Mothma.
Yeah. She was having a time, but she also wasn't flying at speeder after.
No, that's very true. Jesse asked the question, do you guys feel the episode chunks could be released theatrically as 4 movies, as in like the chunks, the 3 at a time? I mean, I guess you could. It's kind of, I feel like that's kind of what they're doing right now, just on Disney Plus. I don't know. I would prefer if they took the credits out and just let it roll and did one big long episode. But I don't know if it'd be good enough to release in the theaters.
I think you'd run into some issues trying to do this as a theatrical release. If you were trying to keep things without like cutting out any existing elements, you'd definitely run into some fatigue from trying to get people back to the theater that frequently.
Yeah.
And also they're not happy endings, it's not someone's we know how Cassian's story ends.
We know how this whole story ends.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is gonna make it out of this season except for maybe Bix. Maybe. But I mean, we know Mon Mothma makes it out, but other than the people we know,
other than our existing known survivors, I wouldn't get too attached to anyone. That includes Luthen.
Exactly. I mean, he's going to be that spark that starts the whole rebellion, I feel like.
I got a thing for you about the spark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
but we'll wait till we get into it.
Yeah, let me read the synopsis first.
Yeah,
And
did it.
Cassian becomes the Andor Lorian. I guess you can call him that. I like that. But we are going to spoil the hell out of these 3 episodes. So if you don't want to be spoiled, this is probably the time to shoo away and come back to the recorded episode after you have watched episodes 1, 2, and 3. Why do I not have the titles right here? Also, there. Episode 1, 1 year later. 2, Sigrona Tima, and 3, Harvest. They were all written by Tony Gilroy, who Phil brought up. What movie did you bring up?
With his writing credits?
Yeah.
One of his first ones was brain. The
cutting edge.
One.
The cutting edge. The cutting edge.
The cutting edge. With DB Sweeney as a hockey player who's got to become a figure skate, like a couples figure skater.
He's got to learn how to. Okay, that's very similar to So basically, you're saying this hockey player can't play hockey anymore, and he has to learn how to figure skate.
Yeah.
Okay, so perfect. Yeah, it's very similar to. I saw this story of Emilio Estevez talking about his pitch to Disney about Mighty Ducks 4. This is totally off the rails, but I got to get it off my chest.
Oh my God.
So his pitch, which I think is brilliant. It's brilliant. It was, he basically gets approached by Josh Jackson, oh my gosh, basically 3 of the original kids. They approach Gordon Bombay and they ask him to coach a all women's hockey team. Emilio, I was all like,
the Mighty Ducks, dude.
Yeah. So anyway, he's saying, I'm gonna go off like Will Ferrell does, but he's talking about this movie as like the kids ask him to go coach an all women's hockey team, but Gordon Bombay is already coaching a roller derby team, so he's taking his roller derby team to go learn how to play ice hockey and become the new Mighty Ducks.
And this was Emilio's actual pitch.
That was this. I swear to God, the Mighty Duck Man. He has this interview where he's talking about his pitch to Disney and how they turned it down or whatever. I think that's a good pitch. I don't know.
I think that's hilarious.
I mean, what a random roller derby.
I wouldn't mess with roller derby people.
No way. Those girls are crazy. They're crazy. But anyway, yeah. All these episodes were written by Tony Gilroy, and it stars Diego Luna and Rochelle Deirdrix and Dave Chapman as B2 Emo. Because I gotta say that because B2 Emo is the best. He's the best. I don't even care. I love him.
I love that little droid.
Yeah. And then of course, God, who plays Luthen again? That's Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård. That's who it is. Thank you. Why isn't it on here? But
because he's not in the first episode, doesn't so no.
He's in the first episode.
He does show up in the first. Yeah. It's a in order of appearance thing.
Oh, that's probably true. All right.
Yeah.
So
Mothman.
In the first arc of Andor Season 2, we are taking back to a galaxy BBY where the rebels are divided, the Empire is cooking, and the weddings are predetermined like the outcome of the Clone Wars. With controversy already swirling within the Star Wars community, Andor continues to be a leading force in the Star Wars world. What are your thoughts on this first arc, Phil?
Oh. Wow. It is unrelenting. The tension building that Tony Gilroy manages over these 3 episodes, because we have Cassian, who is trying to steal a prototype TIE fighter. Holy shit.
Was that a TIE Advanced?
That was the TIE Avenger.
TIE Avenger.
The ones that were chasing him were the TIE Advanced ones that you see in Rebels. Yeah.
Thanks for stopping in, Jesse. I hope that you watch the first 3 episodes and then the next 3 episodes by next Saturday. That would be
man. Only 6 episodes of Star Wars to get through between now and next Saturday.
Yeah, you can do it. I trust you.
So he's snagging this TIE fighter and trying to just get away with it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. My
Then-
other question is: this this is a new ship, right? The TIE
Yes,
Avenger, this is
yeah. We
brand new?
never the Avengers brand new.
Okay.
This is the like only time it's been featured in like anything.
I thought so. It's a sweet looking ship.
It is fun, man. It's super prototypes. They're it's Star Wars.
I mean, you can see why they don't have it in like later movies because it looks extremely hard to drive or to fly. Like,
yeah, and some dude took off with the prototype.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
No, but then we're weaving his story in with Mon Mothma trying to kind of negotiate funding for the rebellion, and associated with that, now having to host her daughter's wedding, which,
Right.
as far as Chandrilan wedding ceremonies go, is a 3-day long affair, and that is intense.
That's quite the wedding. Yeah. I couldn't
And
do that.
then
No way.
we've got Brasso and Bix and Will, some of our other Ferrix folks from season 1, who are trying to lay low on a agricultural, like a grain growing planet.
It's a planet on the
Mina
outer
Rao.
rim.
Mina Rao.
I think it is Mina Rao. Yes, I know it's Rao. It's something Rao.
Yeah, yeah, Mina Rao. And then you've still got Dedra and Cyril,
Dude,
who
there's so much going on. There's
Yeah,
so much going on.
so 4 storylines, no waiting.
Yeah,
but-
and you kind of get dropped into each and every one, but we get to see every single character that we were left off with it from season 1.
yeah, no, we don't, and we pick back with pretty much everyone that we know survived season 1.
Yep.
Looking at you, Kino Loy.
Well, he survived. He's just still in jail.
Hopefully,
Yeah, that's true. They
I'd
probably
love
killed
to see.
everybody.
I'd love to see Andy Serkis reprise that role someday. That'd just be.
He might. Maybe maybe that is Snoke. Maybe
Get
Kino
out.
like
Get out.
no, dude. Here it is.
No,
Here's what
no,
happened. is They
no.
take because he broke
Snoke
out.
Snoke is a clone of Palpatine blended with some rando prisoner.
Why not? Just saying. I mean, look, he did try to escape. He helped a bunch of prisoners to escape.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that being some sort of imperial torture of like, we're gonna clone you a lot.
No, I think it's an incredibly strong start. We're getting 12 episodes, 12 more
12.
episodes this season.
Yeah, it's four different 3-episode arcs, so 12 episodes total.
And if they're dropping like this, it's going to be intense because, like, we're still 4 years out from Battle of Yavin, and I think they were saying that each of these 3-episode arcs was going to cover the events roughly 1 year apart.
Yes.
So we will probably be jumping to 3 BBY for our next season.
Yes. That
our next sequence of episodes.
The arc, yeah. So everything that I have read has said that it is 3-episode arcs, and each one is a year apart, and it leads directly into Rogue One. Like I'm almost positive that the final episode is gonna like leave off with Andor walking through that planet, going to find the guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm almost positive, or him.
No,
landing on
and that would be
something.
spectacular just to tie it directly in. Because
I think the original plan was to do like 4 or 5 different seasons, and all these different story arcs were going to be played out through multiple seasons.
Yeah, at the same time, as much as I would have liked that, I think it makes more sense to do the condensed time frame.
I kind of agree,
especially because we're doing prequels, and Diego Luna does not have the Benjamin Button condition and is not aging in reverse. So
right. He still looks good though. That girl at the beginning said he looked cute. So he's doing just fine.
I think we're off to an incredibly strong start.
Yeah,
picking
and you
back up with basically all of our threads from season 1.
Yep, and you nailed it too. That those are the different story arcs that we got going on. So that's kind of how we can break this down. I don't feel like I want to go. I mean, my notes are divided episode 1, 2, and 3, but I don't feel like we need to go in any sort of particular order with this
Yeah.
because each storyline does get concluded by the end of this arc for the most part. I mean, of course, it'll be continued later on. Like,
it reaches a conclusion for now, though.
yeah, I really want to start with the Deidre and
I was going to say
Cyril
let's start with Dedra and Cyril.
because you're really like the first time you see Deidre is with Krennic.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see Krennic. He's in like the first scene of the Imperials.
He's so good.
And he's
His
just
whole
as menacing.
Here speech is
Yeah.
stellar.
Yeah. And so what they're taking over a planet to mine what did I
Calcite.
Calcite, yeah, and it's Gorman. They're taking over the planet Gorman to do their Calcite.
I got a thing about Gorman.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
This isn't the first time in new canon or Legends that Gorman's been mentioned.
Okay.
Gorman gets mentioned a few times in Legends with an event taking place in 18 BBY, and they're moving the time frame of that event up for the new canon.
Is this the same kind of thing? It does in the what book are you talking
it's the
about?
Same
with
name. It's not in it's in Rebels, and it's in some like data books. There's not like an actual story that's covered like the main events of it, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
But it's what is it? The Gorman Massacre.
Oh.
In Legends took place in 18 BBY. It was Tarkin landing his ship, like his starship, on a crowd of people who were threatening rebellion. And crushing thousands. Literally physically crushing thousands of people by dropping his ship on them.
Dude, that would be crazy.
It's mentioned in Rebels, though. It is the inciting incident that basically gets Mon Mothma to declare publicly for the rebellion.
Huh. Okay.
And it's what convinces Bail Organa to come to join the rebellion as well.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
interesting. That
it's gonna be bad, especially knowing that in new canon, again per Rebels, this event takes place in 2 BBY. So we are 2 years out right now from this event.
Okay. Dang.
Now they may change up some of the specifics of it.
Like Krennic is probably going to be the one to do it. I would
still expect Tarkin to be involved, honestly.
I mean, they do have to redeem themselves from that Tarkin video game character they had in Rogue One, I guess. I gotta open my window.
But yeah,
man, that's brutal.
So it is a major event in the history of the rebellion that, like I said, is so important that they like kept it from Legends and brought it into new canon.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. And that's clearly what they're setting up for sure, is that they're just going to have to destroy it. I mean, I like this whole meeting that they're having.
I love the newsreel.
Yes. So like commercial.
Yeah.
So like telling you what
the Great Valley of Gorman, just the whole thing. It's so cheesy. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I loved watching Dedra and everyone else in the room just being kind of, what?
So confused.
Are we watching here and why?
Yeah. Dedra, she's so calculated though.
Oh yes.
And like
she gets such a spectacular moment in the third episode.
Oh,
with Cyril's mom. The whole dinner party they have there is
we're we're gonna get there.
choice.
But her first good moment was with Krennic
Mm.
when he kind of rolls up to her and she's standing away from the crowd after their whole meeting is done, which basically is Krennic saying, we're going to take over this planet to mine them.
Because we need this ore.
Yeah, we're going to mine Calcite to cover the reactor.
Because they need it for the
Death
reactor
Star.
lenses for the Death Star.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, is that legit, or do they end up reverting to Kyber for the reactor?
So the Kyber crystal is still like kind of the power source at the heart of it.
And that's just for the laser cannon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then this is they actually do use that Calcite for the.
Yeah.
That would make sense. All right.
Yeah.
So this whole mission is to basically mine
it's just
this
getting
planet to
the
death.
supplies. Yeah.
Yeah. And what did they say? They're going to make it unstable. They're going to mine
the drilling process, because of how they have to go in. The mining technique they have can render the core of the planet unstable.
Dude. And I mean, it's just kind of showing you the darkness of the Empire and just how terrible they are. It's awful.
And it's just, hey, we're gonna, displace hundreds of thousands of people,
right? Or kill them.
The initial goal, at least, was to just displace them.
Right. And then Krennic is like, but if it doesn't happen, then whatever.
Some of you may die, but it is a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, but my favorite part about that meeting was the social media dudes.
Oh my God.
The guys that
they're so bad.
They're sitting there, they're like just pitching this whole
the influencers of the Star Wars galaxy.
Yes,
and
I
loved it.
And here's the first real world comparison, I feel like.
Yeah.
Is with the propaganda and how much propaganda they're throwing out to make Gorman look bad. When in actuality, they're just doing it to fuck shit up.
Yeah, they're already planning and have been planning for some time.
Yes. And that's a total tool used today in any country that uses social media and stuff as a propaganda. They use that as a tool, and it's like, that's some real world shit right there, which I thought was pretty funny. And they did a good job of like keeping it Star Wars, but then also
without being like, oh, hey,
yeah, kind of a
this Twitter analog is,
yes. But yeah, and so then after the meeting, Deidre, her good moment, she has two good moments: this one and then the one with Mom. And this moment when Krennic walks up and he's like, you already know what you need to do. Just go over there and tell them you were hired for this job because I know you can do this.
Yeah.
And that kind of like, you can kind of see it. I feel like in her face, she's like very hesitant to show that she can do it, but she's also like at the same time very proud.
She's eager to prove herself, but
yes.
Yeah.
But we didn't really get to see anything. We didn't see any of her, what she said to them or anything like that. The next time we really see her is, she has a little discussion with her ex-superior, the one from season 1. And he's basically like, you just got the jackpot. He's like, you got hired for a super secret mission. And once this is over, you're going to be good.
Yeah. You're set for life.
Right. So, after all that, the next time we see her is at home listening to opera, staring out the window, which is actually my first. Rolling things a little differently this time. Once we get to a spot, we're going to try and do our segments. So like I said, this one here is Deidre staring out the window over this is Coruscant, right?
Coruscant. Yeah.
And I love this shot. I love the brooding. She's like a Batman brooding, listening to her like crazy opera as she's like staring over the city
So my favorite part about this, just as an establishing shot of Coruscant, it doesn't match the skyline, any of like the major features that we've seen elsewhere in Coruscant.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see like the Jedi Temple or anything in the background. So like she's
True.
doing okay enough to be this high up level wise, this
Right.
high up on Coruscant.
Right. And it's a
But
nice place too.
it is, but it's also not in like an established, known kind of, I guess, neighborhood. She's,
True.
She's made progress from where she was, but she's not, as far up as she could be.
But she's making her way.
Yeah.
She's absolutely making her way.
Yep.
And I do really like this their house. Like it's super nice. And like it's funny because all of a sudden Cyril walks in and you're like, oh my God.
Oh hey.
They're
It's the
living
guy.
together. He's literally living in her apartment. But he's just it's so funny. He's your quintessential
and then this guy,
fucking-
Cyril, he's here too.
Yeah. And he's all flustered and nervous because they're planning some big thing, which
As
ends
it
up
turns out, is having his mom over for dinner.
for the first time them meeting each other, for
Mhm.
her to meet her for the first time.
And we remember from season 1 how overbearing Cyril's mother is.
Dude, and especially to Cyril. And like the resemblance between Cyril's mom and my mother was giving me very bad PTSD.
I am so sorry, man.
No, I mean, in all seriousness, she was wonderful. The lady that plays her, which I never remember her name.
Edie. Edie is the character.
Edie.
Catherine
Oh
Hunter
my
plays
God.
her.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She's wonderful, and she
is.
just makes you so uncomfortable. The I mean, the bar far away, one of those scenes is her asking for a spiced tea. And Cyril is like, since when did you start drinking? And she's like, a lot has changed, Cyril. Like, and she's just doing it to get a rise out of him. Like, she's literally just doing the things that she's doing to piss him off. When she's like spilling the fondue dip on the table, and he's like, Mom, you're spilling. Like, I felt that on such a personal level that like I was like, oh, Cyril, I feel for you, bro. Now I would never like go to my room and pout the way that Cyril pouted. He just went in there and laid on his bed, all pissed at mommy. But
it's
no,
so calculated to give Dedra that moment alone with her.
Yes, and dude, she basically just bitch slaps her. Dedra, like Dee tries to say something to her.
Edie's trying to start shit.
Yeah, and Deedra's just like, no, okay, listen. So
here's how it's gonna be.
Yeah, what did she say? I want to give you the plan or something, but I don't want to say plan because I don't want you to think that there's an option here.
Yeah,
like
she's just, and the way she lays everything out, that by the time Cyril comes back in, they're just like, you want some more coffee?
Yes.
And they're just
rips her to shreds.
Mm-hmm.
You just saw the color from Cyril's mom leave her face. It was so good. Just puts her in her. That's one of my favorite scenes of this whole arc is Dedra just smacking her around because she needed it from that first season. Like, she's a jerk to Cyril.
Yeah.
And poor Cyril's just he's just trying to do his thing. He's just trying to make a name for himself, which he does. He's promoted. It's a year later and he's promoted
twice, Dedra says.
Yeah.
Over the duration of the time they've been there, he's been promoted at work twice.
Right. And funny, he actually says the same thing. And I only know this because I just watched Andor season 1. But Cyril says almost the exact same thing to his new recruit.
That
the
he's
commanding
told.
officer told Cyril when he was first.
That's the thing. He gives that same. You can make a difference here.
Yes, and
speech.
it's like
It's
almost identical.
word for word, and it's
Yeah.
so good.
And you're like, oh, good for you, Cyril. Like, I don't usually root for the Empire, but Cyril's just such a lost little puppy dog that I'm like, I kind of want you to win a little bit,
Right? Like,
Like,
dude needs something good to happen in his life.
yeah, and
Because otherwise he's just a whiny loser.
he's got a fairly hot girlfriend, dude. This is an adult show,
Roommate.
right? This is an adult show. I wonder what their nightlife is like. You know what I'm saying?
Like if there's actually like together at all, or if they're just like sharing an apartment.
It could be, but like, I bet she's a dom.
I mean, there was
I bet she.
He's definitely not.
I bet there's a room in the back with some whips and chains, and Cyril just. You know where I'm going. And all the listeners know where I'm going.
Not yet. I think he's still too wrapped up in his relationship with his mother.
Oh, that's probably true. And she's probably so wrapped up in work that they don't see each
no
other
time for
anyway.
anything.
He's just a puppy dog, literally, that watches the house. He can feed himself.
You're half of the rent, and we're good.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of just ended with them with that dinner, though. Their story just kind of ended there.
But it was a good arc for them.
Yes,
just to show that after Cyril saved her during the Rick's Road riot,
she actually kind of got some feelings for the guy. Like, and it's good to see where they are. I mean, and it was good to just get a good glimpse of what this season is gonna do, because we're gonna flash forward a year and we're gonna see them like way deep into this Gorman raid.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be bad.
Yeah,
but it's gonna be a spectacular story.
Right. The other story arc I think I want to talk about, because Andor and the big story, that's kind of all one and the same.
Yeah.
And we can kind of
it is.
So let's talk about the Mon Mothma story here with the wedding. And this is basically their arc was it was Mon Mothma, her cousin.
Yep, Val,
and then Luthen was there.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw like Tay and
Davo,
all the
Scoldin family, all the Chandrilla people.
Yep. And we've never seen this planet before, I don't think. We might have seen it in like,
because most of her stuff was actually set on Coruscant, like in or around her office and Luthen's shop.
Right. I can't remember if we saw it in Rebels or not, though, either. Like if we ever went to Mon Mothma's home planet. I don't think we did, but this wonderful scenery here. All the open shots and stuff. I don't think, did you have you did have a shot there, but it is just the cityscape and how the city's built into the cliffs, and how it's just all natural. It's so
just the idea of it just being the Mothma family estate that we see. Like we don't actually see anything outside of Mon and Perrin's property.
That's true.
When we're on Chandrilla.
That's true. She is a very rich lady.
She's a senator.
Yeah.
And has been one for some time, and is from an established, like, fairly wealthy family.
I would say her family is pretty well off too, I believe. Like,
and honestly, I was sitting here the other day thinking, timeline wise, if she and Bail Organa are contemporaries, you think there's a chance that Lita, her daughter, and Leia have met?
I think Leia's I guess
not that much younger.
It's for BBY, so she wouldn't be much younger.
So Leia's roughly 14 at this point.
Yeah, there was a rumor that young Leia from Obi-Wan was going to be in this show at some point.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that'd be a fun little bit of casting overlap.
Well, yeah, and if like you were saying with the Gorman massacre, if Bail Organa shows up, then Leia might be
with him.
So it's very, very possible. But I don't think they've met by now. I I think Alderaan is a little farther away from Coruscant than Chandrila is, so I wouldn't assume that Mon Mothma and family venture too far away from Coruscant and their home planet.
No, I was just thinking about the timelines and how that could line up, that they're actually not supposed to be that far apart in age.
Yeah, that's true. Mon Mothma's daughter really loves this tradition of getting married.
Yeah.
Like the whole time Mon is fighting it. Like you can tell that she's like, I don't want this to happen.
Well,
and her daughter's like, look at my dress.
Because Mon knows that it's purely political, that she set this up. This introduction to Skolden's kid was just set up so that she could secure more funding for the rebellion.
Right.
And
she's making the ultimate sacrifice of her own family.
Yeah.
And
she doesn't want...
That's so crazy.
And she doesn't want Lita to fall into the same pressures that I'm sure she felt when she and Perrin got married.
Right. And I mean, she gives her the out, you know, like I think it was episode 3, I believe, when they're getting ready to go out and do the ceremony. And Mon Mothma is like,
you don't have to do this.
You can do this. And what she responds with,
I wish you were drunk.
I was say first you should open with Mon had come in and said, you know, when I got married, my mom was drunk.
Yeah.
And then goes on this story about how, you know,
I'm going to tell you what my mom never told me.
Yeah. And so then when she tells her daughter, you don't have to do this, her daughter's like, I kind of wish you were drunk. And you're like, oh, she hates her.
Yeah.
A lot.
And I get the feeling that Lita wants, you know, at least a part of her wants the marriage, just because, absolutely. You know, she's grown up, you know, knowing about what this whole tradition would entail, all of the pageantry, it's a 3-day ceremony,
dude.
And it's a remarkable celebration.
Yes, and we got some of the best dialogue from out of the
all of the Chandrila scenes.
Where's your first one? Didn't you have a first one here in the yes, you had one. It was right when actually Luthen surprises Mon Mothma. So we're gonna do the I'm going to cut that down for next episode, and every time we have a one-chimer, I'm going to play the bing bong. Here's your one-chimer comes in episode 1, actually, right when Luthen shows up.
Surprise. You told him nothing, I hope.
Well, I only just arrived.
Oh, he's terrible at keeping secrets.
Oh, I've been practicing.
You'll see about that.
You'll see when I'm ready. Now, surely there's something that desperately requires your presence.
I'm sorry, that was my one.
That was yours.
That was mine.
But I wanted to talk about everything that builds up to that scene.
Yes.
Because from the minute that Mon starts walking downstairs to go greet Luthen, we get a 2-minute long tracking shot that doesn't cut away.
Oh, they did a lot of that.
2 solid minutes of Mon Mothma interacting with other guests at the wedding. She talks to Vel. We have the whole, do you see who's here? We have her coming down the stairs and greeting Luthen. It's like a 2-minute long sequence of her interacting with half a dozen people on her way down the stairs through the courtyard. And just the set that they're working on for this. The set, the costuming on Chandrila, everything is so good. And to see it all highlighted so well in just that long one cut free sequence is so good. Like after I ended, I backed it up. I was like, how long was that shot?
Right.
Yeah, it's just
but yeah, you're right. And I love their big pan outs in this when you get to see like the whole city and stuff. But that one-chimer, I love that because there's so many like double
many layers.
Yeah.
So many layers.
They do that
joking about not being very good at keeping secrets.
Right. Well, I've been doing it for a while or whatever. And then
I've been practicing.
Right. There's another one like that in, I believe it was episode 1 with Bix and Will.
Yeah.
and they're talking about Will's little crush, and her crush walks up,
Oh.
and Bix goes, "You thirsty?"
Because Bila has walked all the way from their shop with water for him.
Right. Oh, so good, so good. But yeah, I just the all of the Chandrila and stuff. That whole wedding was that was
Just
some of the more
gorgeous.
the more, I was gonna say, the prettier shots were definitely there.
Mhm.
We got a lot of the ugly with Andor and Bix and stuff, but we got a lot of the beauty with Mon Mothma, Luthen, and even, I would say, even Cyril and
Yeah, arguably
Dedra.
Cyril and Dedra even.
So just on a different level, like the the Empire is so jagged and like triangular and stuff, whereas like
Mhm.
Chandrila was very circular
And
like,
very
flowing
organic
and
too,
stuff.
just being like built with the estate built into the side of the mountain.
Right.
Um,
Really, really good stuff. I mean, again, it's one of the best shows that Star Wars has produced, and they're showing why. So, I loved the guy's speech, when he says, Sagrona Tima,
Sagrada Tima.
and it's when he goes off about joy,
Yes.
and he's talking about, joy is fleeting, search for joy and stuff. Like, I actually kind of like
teared
got
up
a
a
little
little.
misty eyed. Like, I didn't
No,
cry by any
his
means, but,
wedding
like,
speech was spectacular.
very powerful. And it was just the way that he gave it, and you can kind of tell that he was talking to Mon at the same time, and like,
Oh, absolutely.
another
And
one of those
because
double things.
Because he's looking back as he's looking at his daughter, seeing her on her wedding night.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking back. He's thinking of being in that same position of going through being the scared kid,
Right.
getting married to Mon, and everything about their whole relationship.
Right.
Suddenly you get that retrospective of everything you've ever done in your life.
Right. Yeah, it was really, really showcasing the dialogue in this season already.
Yeah. No,
and Andor
definitely.
was always good with the dialogue. But they just went right into it this time with that speech. So
Yep.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. I liked Luthen's parts. He's a really good actor. And I don't mean like Stellan Skarsgård. I mean like
no, the
Luthen's
character of Luthen
is a really good actor.
Is a good actor, yeah.
Yeah. Because he's playing so many parts while he's there.
And I don't expect him to successfully, survive at any point. This whole thing.
But Mon did lose her funding, I feel like.
Well,
that would happen. Did she lose her?
No. The funding had gotten secured. Tay had set up everything for the foundation that was going to basically be kind of their front for additional stuff with the funds from Skolden.
Okay.
But Tay's own personal life was falling apart because of his involvement in these things. His wife left him. He's drinking a lot. Basically had to be carried home, they said, the first night of the wedding.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
To which parents he grew up like 4 valleys away. He knows what our ceremonies are like. He knows he needs to pace himself better. It's just like...
I thought that she lost funding, but it seems like he's just getting cold feet.
The whole number that they were discussing, when Luthen says, the number, he believes that Tay has become a liability.
Gotcha.
He sees Tay, and rightfully so, Tay's own personal finances kind of collapsing is making him vulnerable. And so that's why at the end of this whole sequence, at the end when Tay is getting ready to leave the wedding, who shows up?
Yeah, that's right.
Cinta,
that's right. Her friend,
Vel's partner.
Yep. And I feel like it kind of happens after.
I just can't believe it. I've known him my whole life.
People fail. That's our curse. What would have happened if I wasn't here?
People fail.
Mhm.
That's our curse. It's such a good line.
And that's kind of what it projects into that next scene where Cinta shows up, and it looks like she's gonna go take care of him. Like, dude's gone now.
He's toast.
You're not gonna see him
Tay's
again.
done.
Yeah,
He's out. Cinta is here to
she's an
cart him
assassin.
away and kill him. Yeah,
She's an assassin for sure. But Mon Mothma wasn't understanding what Luthen was trying to tell her in that moment.
not right away.
Right.
And it's only after Tay comes back to her in the third episode
Mhm.
that she realizes just how bad things have gotten for him.
Right.
And
I love how Luthen, when he says, something along the lines of, he's become a liability, we need to take care of him. And Mon Mothma, it was shortly after that little discussion that we just played, that one chimer. But she says, I don't think I know what you're talking about. And Luthen goes, how very nice for you. Because he's talking about killing the dude. And Mon Mothma's like, I don't know. I don't kill people. I've never done that. What are you talking about? And Luthen's like, oh, that must be nice.
Yeah, no, just how nice for you.
Yeah. Just such a subtle, just middle finger to be like, you really want to.
You're so distanced. Mon
Yeah.
was so distanced. I mean, she was shocked by him showing up in the first place.
Right.
Like,
I love their.
Skolden's a client.
And speaking of distance, I loved the parallels of this little arc about, you'd see them eating some really fine, delicate dessert, and then flash over to Andor's scenes, and they're like starving and eating.
Yeah, and Cassian's, licking rainwater out of the pan
like a dog.
Yeah.
I love
just
the
the meal parallels, because we have that, and then we also have Cyril and Dedra having dinner with Edie,
like fondue.
And we have, and just these different layers of
classes,
of
another
class, of place, of circumstance.
It's another one of those kind of real world things that I was kind of comparing things with this show, is like, you see the different classes of people, and how there are people out there fighting for their lives right now, and then there are other people that are literally eating caviar at the top of a building somewhere, just enjoying their spoils. And I feel like that's what they're showing in this Star Wars, is those different parallels of people, or those different classes of people, and I love that. So
I got to see if I got anything else about
Mon gets freaking lit,
hammered,
dude.
So Skolden's wife, gives her a shot first, and she's like, "Hey, here,"
she's just her slamming fireballs for 12 shots straight.
Her daughter's mother-in-law now is like, "Hey, here, have a drink with me."
Yeah.
And then the whole dance. So just the difference between the couple's first dance, the very quiet, ritualistic, harp and xylophone and whatnot,
into the rave,
and then the rave.
Yeah.
The DJ droid comes floating in, and just.
I love the JBL speaker that floated in for sure. It was pretty cool. I kind of want one for my house. They're gonna make one. They're gonna make one.
It was really good.
Yeah. Some of the camera shots with that little disco ball were really cool too. There was one in particular, I should have gotten this one, but it goes underneath and it shows the crowd and the reflection.
Yes, you see the reflection of the crowd dancing below it.
I really liked that. I did miss a one chimer from you. It was in episode 2 between I think Mon and Vel.
Mon and Vel.
I'm sorry. Well, there's work to be done.
Yeah, I have to live to do it though, don't we?
Very, very poignant sentiment there.
Yes. Well, and just again remembering that Vel is Mon's cousin, that they have grown up together, that they've done this before.
But they're very different
but-
in the way that they do their business. Because Vel's
Yes.
more of she's more of like a hard knock. She'll do whatever it takes.
Vel is the field agent.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. Vel's the field agent, and Mon is, the bureaucrat sitting back most of the time and not actually getting her hands dirty.
Right.
Until we reach this situation with Tay, and then suddenly it's like, okay, are you going to deal with this, or am I going to have to?
Right. I do like that though. That because Mon is looking at it as a glass half full type of thing.
Tay is a childhood friend. She's known him basically her whole life. That's why she went to him for money in season 1 when she was, looking for backing. She went to him.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I can't do that for you, but Skolden can. And Skolden's like, yeah, I can, but you got to have your kid marry my kid.
Right.
And here we are.
Right. Yeah, and again, the sacrifice of her own family just for the rebellion is what do you sacrifice? Still one of the greatest speeches ever. What do I sacrifice? I love it. I'm sure we're going to get another Luthen speech at some point in this series.
Oh, I hope so. Just because of Stellan Skarsgård,
his delivery is just perfect.
His delivery is so good. The man is eating every bit of scenery around him, but he's doing it so well. It's, Orson Welles level of speechifying.
Yep. I loved how Luthen sends his little sidekick back to the shop.
Clea,
yep. Sends her back to the shop. And one of my favorite scenes, it's just a little Easter egg shot, but we actually see Padme's headdress and Plo Koon's mask is right next to her. So pretty fun little Easter egg there for sure.
Yeah, no, Plo Koon's mask was what really killed it for me. It was just like, oh,
yeah, right. And they also had Starkiller's armor in the background.
Yeah, I saw that too.
The next shot, like Starkiller from Force Unleashed, his armor was in the back. That was kind of cool.
Nice little Easter eggs.
Yeah, it's still Star Wars. You still got to throw in those random Easter eggs. So,
Grogu eggs.
Grogu eggs. Yeah, thank you. I guess I could play that bumper. Nah. We'll do that next week.
Yeah, exactly. Save it for later.
Yeah.
But yeah, Clea heading back to Luthen's shop. So that she actually has comms access again.
Yeah, because she couldn't get in touch with anybody.
She couldn't broadcast from Chandrilla without basically they didn't have the portable encoding and encryption and everything they would need to basically send a secure transmission from Chandrilla.
Right.
So
yeah, and she's funny. I like her little
I like getting to see her interacting with Vel. It's just two single women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's all about her work
prospects.
Too. But she's all about her work. She's
absolutely.
Why am I here, dude? Send me back home, please, so I can take care of what we need to take care of.
You're wasting my time here.
Yeah. I guess while I'm here, I guess I'll get drunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's wonderful. But so, was there anything else from the wedding?
I was just double checking to see if there was anything else from the Chandrilla bits, other than Vel spotting Cinta and being like, "Oh fuck, Tay's dead."
Yes, she knows exactly what's going on there at the end, and that's what that was the end of the episode, I think, right?
Yeah, you see her hiding in a corner, basically just watching because she knows shit's about to go down.
Yeah that's
and then the other thing is just the wedding gift.
So
Skolden brings in the wedding gift that he found via Luthen. Like, hey, here's this absolutely ancient bit of Chandrillan heritage that we tracked down for you.
I wonder if Luthen and him are working together, secretly,
prior to this whole setup.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they'd had an established relationship before Mon Mothma.
Luthen seems like he's a pretty high class art dealer. So
and Tay are both fairly high up in the banking side of things on Chandrilla.
Okay. Yeah, so there's probably some connection there, but yeah,
Then
that was a beautiful
one
piece too.
last little bit though, because of a scene with Tay bumping into somebody on his way out, or on his way to go see Mon. Who does he bump into? Erskine.
Which one is
So
Erskine?
Erskine is a
So bad with the names, dude.
he's the little kind of slick back black hair dude. You see him in a couple of scenes in here.
Oh,
But he's
okay.
Mon Mothma's assistant.
Yes,
He's
gotcha.
Mon's attaché.
Yes.
And Tay even says, I'll reach out to you through Erskine. I'll reach out to Erskine and we'll talk.
Right.
Erskine is talking briefly about his heritage though, as being born on Naboo.
Oh, that guy.
But one of his parents is Gorman.
Right, and Luthen is like, oh,
yeah.
like he knows. I think he's got to know already what's going on over there in Gorman.
He has an idea that something's going down involving that planet. So
I love that little. Ooh,
but just we've seen Erskine before in animation.
what did we see him?
He's also in Rebels. In the episodes that have Mon Mothma.
Oh, that's right, because he's there. That's right.
Yeah.
They're all in the ghost together
Yeah.
at one point.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's just kind of fun to see some of these characters.
That's a good little Grogu egg for sure.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that wedding was a good time. I'm excited to see where they go with Mon Mothma now.
Right. I
A
love
year later.
I love seeing so much more of her.
Mhm.
Just actually I'm gonna send you a link to a Hollywood Reporter article. I'll just send it to you in our chat. But it's an article interviewing Genevieve O'Reilly, and just because she's been playing Mon Mothma for like 20 years.
Yeah, since it's got to be episode 3.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
No, she showed up in Revenge of the Sith as Mon, and then has reprised the role ever since.
Yep, I love that. Yeah, I'll put that in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, I'll shoot you that link because it's a good interview.
Nice. Well, the last bit we got is Andor and the Ferrix clan.
Yep.
Andor, like we talked about at the beginning, was stealing a TIE Avenger.
And our Rift Road refugees are posing as mechanics.
Right. Well, yeah, or like farmers. No, I guess
they're like farmhands, like traveling farmhands, basically.
Right.
So,
and let's see, one of your
there's a couple of shots that I had in here.
I would say your Starlight Killer scene actually comes up pretty early in episode 1, the
first
test
one,
facility.
Right there. This is the first time we've actually seen Sinar.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I have known the name Sinar Fleet Systems since like 1993.
What was it originally from? Was that
they're the people who make the TIE fighters.
Okay.
It's the thing.
Gotcha.
Sinar Fleet Systems is the company behind the TIE fighters.
Gotcha.
And just like Incom makes the T-65s, they make the X-Wings.
Okay.
They make, Sinar Fleet Systems builds the TIEs. So,
yeah, I like the shape of this building. It kind of looks like an Imperial symbol.
It does. And I love just kind of the layout of this place being way up in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the bridge off into the distance there, just kind of showcasing how relatively isolated this particular site is.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's the very beginning, I believe.
Yeah, no, that's like one of the first sequences, like one of the first establishing shots of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And
then actually one of your one-chimers comes in that when they're in that facility getting ready to steal the TIE Avengers. So.
You're risking everything. You can ask what you want.
If I die tonight, was it worth it?
And I think that is the question for anyone who gets involved in the rebellion.
All rebels ask that question for sure.
If I die tonight, was it worth it?
Mm-hmm.
And Cassian's reply is so good, but it's also way too long to do that whole sequence here.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, that was when
just-
Cassian found out that he's cute. People think he's cute. Which is funny because it's definitely like that girl was kind of wondering what was going on.
Mhm.
And if she wouldn't have thought he was cute, do you think she would have asked more questions? Did
Probably
his good looks like
roguishly
save him
handsome.
a little bit? Yeah, that's funny. Um,
Do you ever wonder if maybe there's more to life than just being really, really ridiculously good looking?
ridiculously good looking. I don't know, Andor. Probably not. Yeah, that's that whole,
It was
chase
just
scene
a
was pretty
great,
cool.
great moment, just establishing his character growth since the first since the first episode.
The
of season
whole arc here with him stuck in this forest because he gets the Avenger and he crashes
he goes to find his contact, who was the guy who was going to take the ship and fly it
to wherever
elsewhere.
Luthen needed to have it. Yeah. But come to find out his buddy got killed by some random gang.
This other currently leaderless, rebel cell.
It's a rebel cell, and it was actually, what was their name? The Maya
The Maya Pei Brigade.
Maya Pei, yes.
Who Cassian had they get referenced in, I think,
Season 1,
the middle of season 1.
Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, because they're like one of the groups that's kind of opposed to Saw's partisan group,
right?
Like,
and
just one of the other
and
cells.
how funny that in that speech Saw yells about how all the rebels are lost. They're all lost, and look, here they are lost on this forest planet.
They don't know.
Dinosaurs.
They don't have their leader.
Mhm.
The people who are left there are all pissed off at each other, and Cassian's arrival only makes things worse.
Right.
They're theoretically waiting for rescue because one of their guys went off to go get help.
Right.
Or so he said.
Right.
And it's been several days.
Yeah. And it had only been a couple days.
2 days.
There's one point that Andor says,
because you weren't here 3 days ago when I left.
And so, and Andor's so smart, like to go back to what your point about his character growth, like he used his smarts against this rebel cell here because he knows, he's like, well, these guys don't know what the fuck they're doing, so I'll just use that to my advantage. And he's like, getting on this guy about, oh, I know who you are, and then he deduces that they're the
Maya Pei Brigade.
Yep. And like
your customers, we've been supplying you.
Right. And these people still just don't get it. They're like, well, whatever, we're still going to keep you locked up.
Yeah.
So, and then, I mean, it just goes so south. Like
it does. It goes so far south so quickly.
And without a leader, like you can see right here, they're really showing you how, like, what's the word? Like, there's no direction. Their direction.
Yeah.
All the rebels have no idea what to do. They're just
the
don't
disparate
like
elements. Yeah.
Right.
And without someone to point them in the right direction.
Right. So this, I mean, it's kind of setting up. I feel like this whole first arc with Andor is setting up that the rebels are going to need a leader, and that Mon Mothma obviously takes up that role.
Yeah.
By the end, but it's like they're really diving into that. All these rebel cells are lost. I mean, it was fun. This whole part was a good time. You had speaking of fun, you had another one-chimer that came in episode 1.
So who's really in charge here? It's harder than it looks.
And just his attempt to inject some humor into the situation.
Right.
Is so good.
He does that a couple
he
times.
did the exact same thing when he first got behind the controls of that tie.
Right. And he's just kind of mocking him at that point.
Oh, yeah.
He makes fun of him the whole time until he actually gets away, which he gets away easily because they split up. Yeah. The rebel faction splits into 2 different groups like a bunch of idiots.
Well, they're fighting. A gun goes off. someone they all cared about gets killed.
Well, and that was on purpose too. That
Well,
dude
yeah.
was that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad that he got shot too, because that girl did not deserve to get shot like that. That was trash.
But her death, kicks off the whole other shit for them, separating down to the, 2 ships that are there in this little clearing. And
This is where we get our Jurassic Park
yeah,
reference.
like, oh, we got fucking monsters out here in the woods.
Yeah, and one guy gets impaled by that beast, doesn't it?
So that was the thing. Like, when they do finally manage to come together for their challenge, which Star Wars rock paper scissors, I guess. I love that. I thought that was honestly hilarious. Just the idea of these guys being so tough. You think they're going to go fight it out. They've got seconds. They've got everything. And then they basically come down to a 4-way version of rock, paper, scissors. It's just like, it's so
anticlimactic, but so climactic at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's such it's so counterintuitive.
Oh my God. It was ridiculous.
And I loved it. But in the middle of all of this, then the monster they hear comes bursting through and clips both of the leaders.
Yeah.
I went back to this and it was like,
I could have sworn he impaled one.
He might have gotten one. Like, it looked like he kind of impaled one and mostly like almost ate the other one. It was
right. Well, and the girl that got shot got eaten for sure because they found her.
They found her boot. They found the guy's boot.
Oh, it was the guy's? I thought
they found the girl's goggles.
Oh, okay.
And they found Crab's boot with his foot still in it. And you just left it there? His foot was still in it?
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Haven't seen that in Star Wars, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen severed limbs, of course, but...
Well, yes, but, not usually without a lightsaber involved.
Yeah. This whole story arc was fairly short, though. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really go for...
I was just feeling sorry for Cassian because it's just like, man, he's getting taken prisoner again.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I was like, going back to, all right, whatever.
Familiar territory for him, at least.
Yeah, I do like when Andor does get away. How when he's like stuck in space, it was very similar to Avengers Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I didn't realize that was called the TIE Avenger. Which that could be a complete reference to the very opening shot of Avengers Endgame when Tony Stark is lost in space. But anyway, I loved how Andor was trying to hotwire it and he misfires a couple times.
Like half the engine off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just the lack of familiarity of that ship. He has no idea what it is. It's a brand new system and it's just showing you how much the Empire is trying to separate themselves and be a true empire that nobody knows how to run,
So, fun thing. The TIE Avenger actually first showed up in the TIE Fighter video game.
Really?
Like 94?
There was like a computer game, right? PC game?
It was a sequel to X-Wing.
Yep. Huh.
Yeah.
That's
TIE Avenger gets featured in there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a throwback if I've ever seen one. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a pretty short storyline. It's basically just showing you the rebels are torn apart. Andor can outsmart them pretty well.
Oh yeah.
And he gets away pretty.
He can pit them against each other really easily.
Right. Well, just the way he's like, there are so many moments where he was just like, "Hey, it's raining. Maybe we should gather some water."
He does try to help.
Right.
Like, he doesn't want to he
doesn't want to die.
Part of the rebellion. He doesn't want to see them fail either.
Right. And they're all just gonna die if they keep
about shit.
Right. So his just being a smartass was awesome. So I loved that introduction back to Andor. But
yeah.
I think we all knew that he was gonna be okay. He was gonna be on some sort of mission. The main concern of this first arc was about Mon Mothma and then Bix and company.
Yeah.
And we first see Bix like having a crazy flashback nightmare.
Oh
of
my god,
getting tortured.
Pix's fucking nightmare was just like, ooh.
She's going through it.
She is. She's got pretty severe PTSD.
Yes, and again, comparing to real world stuff, like that's something that happens, you know.
Yeah,
and
and not helped by then to Lieutenant Kroll being
dude,
a fucking creeper and trying to, assault her.
dude, and that was, I mean, you could tell the first. What does he come in episode 2? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he comes in episode 2 when they do their inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I'm not a, I don't want to bring all the politics into it, but like, wow.
Yeah.
If this wasn't like spot on the nose of what is going on, especially in this country right now, like that would, I mean, it was insane. You know what I mean? I mean, just the fact, and the fact that they use the word visas and they didn't.
It's like, hey, do you have your papers?
What happened to chain codes?
Yeah.
Was that not established yet by now? Because I feel like Solo
When
had
did we-
chain codes, didn't I? Know they had chain codes.
Solo, yeah.
And Solo was way before this, wasn't it? Because they had chain
And
codes on Corellia.
it may have just been like it closer to the like inner rim where they were being used.
And that's my other point, or my other question too, was they're in the outer rim. I didn't feel like the Empire really went out to the outer rim and did that kind of thing. So maybe that's why it's visas and not chain codes, because you have to have a visa to go to the outer rim. Is that? I mean, that's kind of the only logical thing I can think of.
I think they're just making sure that the people like weren't coming from non-imperial planets to imperial worlds
And finding fugitives and stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because I mean, the whole idea, the inspections, I figure it's like, okay, Palpatine wants to have a better grasp of what resources he has available to him,
Right.
in terms of everything.
Right.
Hence the audit,
For the grain and all this stuff.
Yeah. But also a nice excuse to potentially round up any, seditious people.
Right. And that makes sense too. And like when they said visas, I was like, what the fuck happened to chain codes? So talking it out with somebody,
they
helps
were in
me
use
kind
at
of-
that point.
Okay.
But just I think they were more
Inner
core,
rim.
more
Yeah.
core world than an outer rim.
Yeah. And like I said, talking it out with someone, it makes more sense. But like in my own head, watching the show for this, even the second, third time, I was like,
no, just like, why aren't we using this referenced thing that we already have established?
right. Because like I said, I mean, they're definitely going for the throat when it comes to politics in this, but that was so spot on that I was like, are they like forgetting that chain codes exist, or but yeah, so that just that whole intro to that Imperial officer, Kroll, is that what his name?
Yeah, Kroll.
It's always a Kroll, dude. But you can tell that first scene, you're like, oh, this guy's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, he's got his eye on Bix, and that's gonna be a problem.
Right. I never expected it to get to where it went, though.
Yeah.
It was kind of.
And props to Bix. She defended herself.
She did.
I
mean, she killed a man.
She killed two men.
He deserved it.
The one did.
Yeah, I mean the other one did too because he's an Imperial, but like the one really, really did. So, and it's funny because just to pause on this whole scene, the assault scene. It's a really dark scene for Star Wars. It's something that we have never even thought of seeing. I never ever in a million years thought that I would see something like this in Star Wars. And I think it's personally, I think it's good. I mean, I think it's a great way of portraying not only how bad the Empire is, but just how fucking devastating something like that can be.
Yeah.
And like I've seen a lot of complaints around the internet and stuff about it. Like, I can't believe that they had this in Star Wars, not my Star Wars, doesn't belong, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, no, this doesn't belong in Star Wars because it doesn't belong anywhere. I'm sorry that it makes people uncomfortable, but like this is a real situation. Again, to bring it into real world stuff, this happens so much. And so like I'm glad that you feel uncomfortable, and I'm glad that you don't like it, because that's the reaction you're supposed to feel.
Yeah. Rape is not a comfortable topic.
Right.
It's not supposed to be.
And people that say that the Empire wouldn't do that, you cannot tell me that people in power like that wouldn't take advantage.
Exactly.
Come on, dude. Grow up. Sorry.
There's
my soapbox rant, because I was getting a little irritated about that. I almost brought back the toxic tweet of the week for this. Just because it was like, dude, like, I get it. It's new. It's not something anyone ever wants to see. But again, it's not something anyone ever wants to see. So,
and this is what I was saying at the beginning of the episode with Andor with Tony Gilroy taking to some of the darker themes that we haven't seen in Star Wars, but that we know are a part of human existence. Were you expecting an immigration debate?
Right.
Were you expecting? But I will say this: just anybody who goes in to Star Wars and thinks that they can, see something involving Star Wars and it's not going to be political, man, you're not watching Star Wars.
Yeah. Y'all remember A New Hope? Like, this has always been based on the fascism and going against the man and all that stuff.
What was the plot point of episode 1? A trade war.
Yeah. What? Seriously. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, Star Wars has been very, very kid friendly lately. You look at Skeleton Crew, you look at, Ahsoka even. Like, it's been very kid friendly. But this is how, this is the Star Wars for the adults. It's like I said in the last season that we reviewed of Andor. This is not your granddad's Star Wars. This is the one for the adults. And I think they're doing a wonderful job so far.
Absolutely
making that a reality. And this is the kind of stuff that we need for Star Wars. Like, the people that complain so much about all that kid-friendly stuff, give them more of this.
Yeah.
Give them more of the darker, the grittier, the more adult-themed Star Wars. And that way you'll be able to keep people happy. You can still come out with, the Skeleton Crews and the stupid Bad Batches and stuff like that. You can still do that. But yeah, I very excited for the rest of this season.
As am I.
Especially just the conclusion of this first arc. It was really sad to see Brasso go.
Man, just that whole sequence, everything. And again, just because we have the tension building across these different storylines, we get the overlay of everything happening at Mon Mothma's with this big techno dance party, and Cassian finally getting back home, not home, but getting back to Bix and Will and Brasso and B2 Emo, and he gets there too late.
Yep, but it does set up a super awesome scene where this is one of my shots.
Hey, look, there's that gameplay.
Right, and that's kind of why I picked this, because it looks so much like a video game with like the cockpit,
the heads-up display built into the cockpit.
Yeah. And you got the enemies that are marked red, and the other ones that are still like they're on the radar, but they're not locked on yet.
Mm-hmm.
I love the inside the cockpit shots like this.
Mm-hmm. Man, did you play? What was the Star Wars? They did a fairly recent game where you started, like, your first mission was a TIE
Squadrons.
Was it Squadrons? Star Wars Squadrons.
I haven't, but I've been saving it till I get VR.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. But this all of the sequences of Cassian's pilot perspective from within the TIE make me think so much of just the gameplay of Squadrons, and it's just like,
Very
That's
similar.
some really nice design team overlap there.
And him learning how to fly the TIE fighter is also a lot like Squadrons, because when you first pick up Squadrons, you're like, this will be easy. You're like, what the fuck is going on right now?
They actually went for some decently accurate flight sim controls in that one. I was
that's
very
why
impressed.
that's why I was saying I wanted to wait till I get the PSVR, because
Yeah.
it's a wonderful game, but it's not being used to its full potential with a controller.
No, and I've played it with a flight stick, so
Dude, I bet that's sick.
it was really good.
Oh my god, I gotta do that too. So yeah, anyway, I missed your one shot here.
Yep.
We were talking about the fields and just
So-
where they're at, and this one came in at the episode 2 mark with
Yep.
silos.
Yep. So this is a shot from inside Talia and Kellen's not Talia, Kellen's shop.
Trader.
Man, I got issues with Kellen. And going back through and rewatching, he's so twitchy
Right.
the whole time. It's just man.
When I rewatched it, like the first time I was like, okay, I kind of trust this guy, but the second time watching it, I was like, okay, like I can see the sign.
Then you see it a lot more.
Yeah.
But I just love this as an establishing shot of Mina Rao, of just kind of I grew up in a farm town, y'all. I grew up around grain elevators and grain storage. And I just kind of love this as like the Star Wars version of things. It's like, okay, if we have hovering transports that can come in, we can just come in underneath these silos, we can unload,
grab them,
and just fly in over the top of the grain. It's like, I actually really love that design.
Would you grow up in Greeley?
East of Greeley.
Okay.
Yeah, like 2 hours east of Greeley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some real farm town right there.
Yeah.
Dang. What, Fort Morgan? What?
East of Fort Morgan.
Really?
Really?
Where? What?
Holyoke.
Town?
Holyoke.
Holyoke. I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, no, if it's about an hour and a half from Fort Morgan.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
crazy.
My parents' house when I was growing up was all of about 8 miles on the Colorado side of the Colorado-Nebraska state.
Oh wow! So you were basically in Kansas then?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it was interesting to see the silos though, and just kind of seeing.
It was fun to see kind of the agricultural world. Like, hey, here's,
and not just a moisture farmer.
Yeah,
we're actually seeing like a real farm.
A real farm.
So,
no offense, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, moisture farming on Tatooine makes sense, but
it does. It does.
Seeing a grain elevator get shot out and then falling on stormtroopers was sick.
No, that shot of the grain just flooding out, and we got a similar scene with the treasure sequence at the end of
that's right,
of Skeleton Crew.
That's right. They open the hatch and
just the gold pouring out.
Yeah. Was it Neil on top of it? No, it was the girl.
Yeah.
The cyborg girl. I don't remember her name, but that was a good show.
That was a fun show.
Yeah.
And Andor's been really fun too. I definitely a lot heavier series.
Yes.
But
it's got a lot, again, it's got a lot more depth, and it's made for adults. It's good. It's a good series for us as, late 30s.
Yeah. I love that before all of this, we get Cassian doing threat assessment. When he arrives at Mina Rao, he sees the Star Destroyer.
Yep.
Hovering in orbit.
Just dives.
He's like, nope, we got to go.
Mm-hmm. Although the Avenger might not.
That was the thing. The Avenger could have put up a good fight.
And it might not even show up on a radar, though, either.
Yeah.
So we don't really know
but
about it.
I love that we see the Imperials on the ground being like, what's he doing? Who called that in?
Right.
And
then like, oh, shit, pop.
Well, that's not our air support.
Yeah. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
it was good.
The rescue was good. Again, we lost Brasso, and I didn't think they did a really good job of being like,
they cut away. You see the shot that you see in the promo stills.
Right.
You get the promo still of the stormtrooper in the wheat field with the rifle raised to the helmet.
Right.
And then when you see that shot and it cuts away, it's like, oh, that's the moment.
Well,
That's the shot that he's about to take. That shot that kills Brasso.
but normally you think like in a show like a Star Wars, when they cut away from that shot in Andor,
You expect the hero to get there in
shoots all of them.
time.
Well, he did. He got there and he got rid of all those stormtroopers, but it was just after Brasso had been
Exactly.
shot.
He didn't get there in time, which
Yep.
is
So again,
kind of
another,
a running theme with Cassian. It's like he's
true.
always just a little too late.
That's true, but it's also just another way of showing you like this isn't your normal Star Wars. They're
Yeah.
not gonna win.
Not everyone's going to make it out. This. You need to go into Andor with the same approach you will go into Rogue One.
Game of Thrones. Oh, Rogue One. Yes.
I mean, well, yes, that too, but you know, from a Star Wars perspective, this is all still part of Rogue One,
Right. And I would
and
say
no one makes it out.
so any character we didn't see in Rogue One probably doesn't make it out of Andor season 2.
Yeah,
Which sucks, but again, it's just the way that it works.
yeah.
When you're in a rebellion. I don't think
That was about all I had, man.
And I don't have any other segments. I don't have any other videos or anything. I think
There's one line. There's one line that I didn't pull, but I absolutely loved from Kellen.
Which one?
Just why can't they just leave us in peace?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Which
That was
so
a
good.
more human moment. After
Yeah.
you realize he's a monster, you're like, ah, yeah, he was really going through it.
He was, and he still is. You know, he has a wife and kid that he's looking out for.
Yep.
And I get
And
it.
they were harboring fugitives.
They were.
And they just got picked up by a stolen TIE fighter. So he's
I don't think things are going to end up well for them.
no, they're gonna have to go back. I mean, they're gonna have to go back and get B2, right? Right.
Maybe.
If we don't see B2 again, I'm gonna be upset.
I like that we saw B2 playing with the local kids.
Yes, that was cool.
They're going to get us.
I would love it if somehow they transferred B2's memory core into K2SO. I'm just saying
Mm-hmm.
that could happen.
Maybe.
B2
That is
sounds
what
like
gives
Alan
us that's what gives us the Alan Tudyk K2 personality
Yeah,
that
like-
we know and love.
Right, like we've seen memory cores been transferred to other things before. We saw L3 in Solo,
Getting transferred to the Falcon. Yeah.
so it's very possible we could see this get transferred over to K2 in
Yeah.
order to take over the Imperial thing. I don't know. That's like my biggest hope.
That
Is
his
that
personality
B2
gets, dropped in on this Imperial
Right.
combat
I mean,
droid.
it is K2 SO,
Yeah.
and it was
B2
coming
emo.
from B2
Mhm.
EMO. So I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I don't really
Yeah.
have anything else either for
Yeah.
this episode. We just have the very last thing that we always do. And I don't think I'll ever change that bumper because
It's too good. It's too good.
but that sound means that it's the Tusken Raider, where we rate each episode. I think we should just rate each arc,
I think so too. I think
because the episodes really flowed together this time, and it wasn't like, I mean, each episode had its own shining moments, but I feel like as a whole, let's do it in the 3-episode arc. So Phil, what would you rate the 3 episodes?
I would probably give this an overall 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I think it's a really, really strong return to things. I do kind of wish, and I know that there is a recap that you can watch on Disney Plus.
Yeah, very good recap
But
too.
it's
should've watched
solid.
that.
No, it's a solid recap. I wish they'd kind of linked it into the show a little bit more, because there's a lot of players on the field right
Yes,
now.
absolutely.
And it's a little chaotic again because it has been 2.5 years since season 1.
Yeah, I think you're right. Two and a half.
It's
2 years?
September of 22.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a really solid start. I think they could have potentially improved some of the pacing of things, especially in the first episode, and given us a little bit more of some of the other characters earlier than we got to them.
Sure.
But I do still think overall it came out quite good. So
Yeah.
I'm
gonna have
8.5.
I hate to be like that guy, but I'm gonna have to echo all of that and go with an 8.5 myself.
All right. Hey.
And there were obviously some things that could have been cleaned up or whatever, but it was a very, very solid start to this, I guess, 4-episode series. So yeah, that's a good rating. I'm sure Justin would have been Justin and gave it like a 7.5 just to be. No, speaking of
complaining that we still don't have Honda.
Yeah,
Hondo Onaka. Hondo win.
Speaking of Justin, though, like in the beginning of the video, if you're watching live, it does say sometimes Justin will be here.
Yes.
He's already our resident hero of the podcast, but he is now training to do more in that realm, and we are very, very proud of him and wishing him the best of luck in all of his schooling that he's going through right now. But
unfortunately, his training schedule conflicts with a lot of our filming time.
Correct. So he might show up.
Yeah.
He'll be here at some point, and we might have some other guests and stuff pop up this season. But it's a very casual Quest Me this time around, just because of how Andor's being released. So like I said, Justin might show up next week. He might not. Hopefully he is. But
if we're trying to go formal, I can break out the suit and tie. We can do it.
Yeah,
formal.
There you go. Thank you guys. Thanks for people that were in the chat, Jesse, of course, and then everyone else that popped in and watched. And thanks to the listeners on the podcast. Really appreciate you guys. We had a bit of a surge over the last couple weeks with Quest Me, which was kind of cool. So thank you guys for listening and continuing to listen. If you do want to follow us, all the links for that are in the show notes, including Phil's recipes and his blog. The Sword of the Ancients, I think is what it is. Yeah. So definitely give those a look-see and give us a follow and all that good stuff. I do post a lot on TikTok, just FYI. We have fun over there. So that's going to do it for us this week on Quest Me. We will be back next Saturday at the same time. So yeah, for Quest Me, I have been your host.
I'm Phil.
And of course, my name is Josh. We are going to talk to you next week. May the Force be with you.